What happened in Texas in giving up 34 straight points?
Well, a lot of things happened. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't stop Texas on with their defense. Special teams was atrocious. And, a lot of people are upset with Clay Helton as usual. This was a marquee game. It was a game to kind of assess where they're at. Texas wasn't even, considered a national power after the way they started the season and the way they struggled. And USC got blown out. So now there's a huge amount of pressure on Clay Helton right now. And they play Washington State tomorrow night. And they're going to have to come out and play a lot better, a lot cleaner. They just can't make the constant mistakes on special teams. They have to be able to run the ball. Their defense has to play a lot better than it did last week. They just aren't physical enough on defense right now. So everybody questions everything when you lose, and that's kind of where they're at right now. Everything's up for debate.
So, Scott, it's a situation in which JT Daniels in the offense obviously couldn't make the end zone 2 weeks ago at Stanford. They go to Texas. They had a couple decent drives, capped those off, and then they got obliterated up front and couldn't make anything happen in the second half and let the game get out of hand. And as you mentioned, had the special teams blunder in which it was still a game and they could have gotten it inside a score, I believe, 23-16, something in that range. 23-17 would have been the score had they made the field goal, and that's what they were looking to do right there. My goodness, it's a tale of two teams in regards to scheduling and challenges to date. We're going to find out a lot about Washington State. They haven't played anyone. USC's had to face one of the more difficult schedules to date in college football, going on the road to Stanford and Texas. So they're battle tested at least. It's not proven to be successful, but battle tested.
Well, yeah, I mean, Washington State, I think, comes in with no pressure. They're not expected to win the game, and they're the underdog. And USC's got to turn its season around fast. And it's a Friday night game at the Coliseum. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people making the drive to the Coliseum on a weeknight and a night game. So I don't know how much support they're going to have at the Coliseum. I don't know how much energy there is going into this game. I just feel like, it could be an upset special, but who knows what Washington State is at this point. So for them, it's a big statement game, I think. But they beat USC last year up in Pullman, so USC has a little revenge factor going there. But the fact is, I think Washington State can be the looser team, and they're going to blitz the heck out of JT Daniels because Washington State has 10 sacks already. And USC's given up 9 sacks already in 3 games. So there's no reason they're not going to try to rattle him because he gets rattled the past 2 games when there's a lot of pressure. And, he played well overall last week, but he doesn't like pressure, you can tell. So I'm sure Mike Leach is going to want to blitz a lot.
Hey, Scott, you bring up one situation that seems to hit a sore spot with folks from the South and the Midwest when it comes to college football, probably folks from the East Coast when it comes to baseball, comparing themselves to the West Coast. So USC, I know from doing this and the response that I get from USC fans and the interest in USC football versus other fan bases, that there is intense interest in USC football. And when you mention a team that in a conference game is going to have difficulty getting people to the stadium, you understand that there's people can't relate to that in other areas of the country.
Well, I think it's the fact, they lost to Stanford and then they get blown out by Texas. So there's not a lot of energy around the program right now and momentum. And we talked about this, before the first game of the year. Clay Helton doesn't have a big reservoir of support from the fans. So, I've already talked to people this week that tell me they're not going to the game. And I've heard from people in the athletic department, they've sold about 30,000 tickets. I suspect they'll get more than that at the game itself. But it's kind of an indictment, I think, of where the support for the program is right now, because I think people don't have a lot of confidence in where they're headed, even though the schedule's getting easier, and they should win quite a few games the rest of the way.
So we talked about this during the offseason, and many of us saw this coming. USC with 2 difficult road trips in the first month of the season with a freshman quarterback and a young team in spots not handling it very well with the lack of an offense against Stanford from gun to gun, and then going to Texas and blowing a 14-3 lead en route to a 37-14 shellacking in Austin against a Texas team that did not look the part the first 2 weeks of play for them, but they got healthy against the Trojans in the second half. Scott Wolf joining us from Inside USC. Please join him there, insideusc.org, for some excellent USC football coverage. Scott, we appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, Scott Wolf. We had Kevin McGuffey from Last Word on College Football, along with Mike Laval from the same site, talking Tennessee, Florida, also Kentucky, Mississippi State, big matchups in the SEC, along with Georgia, Missouri, and Savannah Lee Richardson from Bulldog Illustrated. Appreciate all of you guys joining us once again. Sign up for the newsletter. Just send your email address to MarkRogersTV@gmail.com. Of course, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll have my predictions out by tomorrow afternoon, as well as, of course, conference rankings that I have promised through week 3. Right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We will see you guys on Friday.